Hey everyone, Dan McKenzie here with McKenzie Law Firm. We are an estate planning, estate administration, and small business counsel law firm in the Denver, Colorado area. Obviously, what we do, just as lawyers, frankly, you're usually dealing with problems. People don't usually come to lawyers for happy events necessarily. It's about either dealing with a problem that has already become urgent or trying to avoid problems. And we're more in the second category usually. But, a lot of people especially, obviously, we deal with circumstances where people have passed away, or they are having some serious medical issues or need some help for a lot of reasons that people obviously would consider to be tragic in a lot of circumstances. So of course there is a bit of a pall hanging over everything that we talk about, and we do ask some very difficult questions, and some of our clients do say, oh, this is so depressing, I hate really dealing with this. And it is kind of a theory that it's why so many people put off doing estate planning. They don't want to think about their own mortality, of course. Most people want to bury their head in the sands about this, but I want to encourage you to actually do something that might seem a little counterintuitive, which is if you're engaging in estate planning, have a little fun with it, actually. You might think that sounds crazy, but if you've been to a funeral before, had someone pass away, or been to more than one funeral, you might have seen, in some ways it's like weddings. You go to different weddings and some are elaborate and some are very simple, and some it's just like the personality of the couple just really shines through. And those are the ones where you're like, gosh, that was a really amazing wedding. I really feel like I got to know them. Usually when you go to a wedding, you might know one side or the other, the bride or the groom. And sometimes you come away from the wedding feeling like, I really got to know the other person too, because there were so many parts of the wedding that obviously was their personality. And those are the weddings that people feel the most warmly about. And I would say that's true in funerals too. When you go to a funeral or some sort of memorial service, it's the ones where you really get to see, learn something about that person who's passed away, see their personality, and see something that is obviously personalized to them. Sometimes you go to funerals and it feels a lot more perfunctory, a little bit more formulaic, and just not much there that really speaks to the person. There's, some prayers that are read at every funeral, or, maybe an officiant who didn't really even know the person or never met them. So, sometimes that just is necessary because of the timing or whatever else. So for families who have had to deal with situations like that, of course, you do what you can. But when you're planning, when you're doing your own planning, feel free. There are several opportunities within the estate plan to kind of say, hey, here's how I want to be memorialized. Here's how I like to be laid to rest. Here's my attitude towards this. We do a separate document on memorial instructions where a lot of our clients, frankly, they're kind of in the category where, again, they're kind of like, I don't care, I'm going to be dead. Why? I'm not going to impose anything on my family, We got other clients who really, again, they kind of have a little fun with it. We've had some clients specify foods to serve. We've had clients specify music to play. We've had them specify bars to party at. We had a client specify that a cruise, that money from his estate should be used to take people on a cruise and have some certain event, and then dispose of the ashes over the side of the boat or whatever. Check if that's legal or it doesn't violate the cruise guidelines if you're doing that. But at any rate, those kinds of memorial services, I think people will just, feel so much more connection with the person, and they're just scrambling around trying to get the basics done. And then within the will or the trust, there's stuff in there where it's you put the instructions, and these are the instructions that are going to be followed. Here's who's going to get my stuff. Here's this trust that's going to be set up for our kids. Here's when they get the money from that trust, and here's who's going to run that trust. Those are mandatory instructions. Those are instructions that are going to be followed. But there are a few different spots where you can put in some stuff where it's just kind of more guidance or more thoughts. Sometimes we'll include what's called a statement of intent in our documents, just saying, hey, here's what I was hoping to accomplish. Here's why I'm giving this money to my kid, or what I hope they'll use it for. How I hope people will remember me. Very funny stuff, using slang from today that if that gets read at their memorial service, God willing, they're nowhere near it. It's a young couple with a very young kid. So if that statement does get read, I think people at the funeral will really get a kick out of it, frankly. And obviously it'll be horribly tragic and very sad, but overall, I think people they'll remember that. So, when I've done coaching or any self-improvement things, one of the first things people have always told me is, if you really want to get to what you value, one exercise I've been given several times is write your own eulogy. Think about what you would want said about you at your own funeral, because thinking through that a little bit kind of gives you a little bit more insight actually to yourself and what you might find important. So again, there's just a lot of opportunity for a lot of self-reflection here. It doesn't have to be just like, oh, let me ponder, the least I can about how I would want my family to be financially supported. I mean, that's important, but it doesn't have to be the only thing. And it really doesn't have to be depressing, actually. This is about you, and you can make it so. So hopefully this encourages you to kind of think about this a little bit. If you'd like to have that conversation with us, again, we're in Denver, Colorado. Our phone number is 303-578-2745. You can find us at themckenziefirm.com, and I appreciate you watching this video, and I hope it was helpful. Thank you.